Rain tiptoes down the windows of a black luxury sedan idling at a red light. Inside, a faint glow from a phone screen bounces off the face of Edward Rivers. 50s, pressed suit, expensive watch, yet eyes dulled by routine. The back seat is pristine. His leather briefcase rests untouched beside him. Jazz murmurs faintly through the stereo. Elegant, indifferent. In a city of glass and gold, some men forget what the ground feels like, until they see someone kneeling on it. Edward scrolls absently through stock reports. His thumb taps, swipes, stops. His face is unreadable, the kind that negotiates in billions but hasn't laughed in years. Driver OS. Lights red. Might be a while. Looks like they're clearing something ahead. No response. Outside, steam snakes from a nearby sewer grate. Across the street, under the amber buzz of a flickering street lamp, movement catches Edward's peripheral vision. He looks up, a man in a tattered army jacket, his posture stooped, hair wet from the drizzle, kneels beside a young child curled against a cement pillar. The child shivers, curled into themselves like the city has forgotten they exist. The man slowly unwraps a gray, fraying blanket from his own shoulders. Without a word, he gently drapes it over the child's back, then steps away, arms crossed, guarding from a distance. Edward's brow furrows. Something in the man's face, still, silent, strong, pierces through the boardrooms and bonuses. He leans forward in his seat, the phone lowering. His breath catches. Sometimes it takes a stranger kneeling in the rain to make a man who has everything feel cold for the first time. The rain doesn't let up. It drizzles like static, soft but persistent, soaking the edges of the city's forgotten corners. The child, no older than 8, clutches their knees. Thin arms, torn hoodie, eyes darting from car to car, but no one stops. A cup sits in front of them, empty, save for a soggy receipt. A shadow falls over the cup. Sam, late 40s, weathered hands and soldier's spine, kneels slowly beside the child again. His blanket, the only layer between him and the street, now rests on the child's shoulders. His breath fogs the air, chest rising and falling slower now. He doesn't speak. He just watches. Not the world, the child. Like it's his duty. Like maybe once, a child this small had been his. To the world, it was a thin piece of fabric. To the man who gave it away, it was warmth, safety. The last thing he could call his. To the child, it was the first kindness in days. The child peeks up at him. Their eyes meet. Sam offers a faint nod, an unspoken vow. The child tugs the blanket tighter and leans against the concrete pillar once more, no longer shivering as violently. A gust of wind lifts the edge of Sam's jacket. Beneath it, faded military patches barely holding on to thread. Across the street, inside the warmth of leather and steel, Edward Rivers watches. The traffic light remains red. The hum of the engine idles steady, unlike his pulse. Edward lowers his phone to his lap. His jaw tightens. Eyes linger. It takes seconds to give what you need yourself, but it takes something deeper to give it anyway. Edward leans forward slightly, his hand on the car door handle, but he doesn't open it. The light turns green. Still, the car doesn't move. Edward Rivers stares across the street. The world outside blurs behind the fogged glass, but that man, the kneeling figure, is sharp in his mind. Edward, low, almost to himself. He gave it away. His only blanket, driver, OS. Sir? Edward snaps out of his trance. Edward, sitting back, go. The car rolls forward, but slowly. Edward keeps glancing through the rear window until the corner fades from view. Corporate lobby. Later that night, Edward walks into the marbled silence of his company's lobby. Echoes of his footsteps tap against glass and granite. The concierge greets him. He ignores it. Elevator. Moments later, he presses the top floor. Thinks. Then presses the button again. Stops the elevator mid-rise. He pulls out his phone and dials. Edward. Into phone. Do we still use that private security firm for the New York site? Staffer, OS. Yes, sir. Did something happen? Edward. There was a man on the corner of 8th and Cherry. Gave his blanket to a kid. Find out who he is. Staffer, OS. Do you want us to approach? Edward numb quietly. I just want a name. Staffer, OS. Understood. The elevator resumes its climb. Edward leans against the wall, hand to his mouth, thinking. CEO's office. Next morning, sunlight spills through floor-to-ceiling windows. Edward flips through reports but isn't reading them. His phone buzzes. Staffer. Text. Name Samuel Carter, ex-military. Lives under the 9th Street Bridge. Keeps to himself. Doesn't talk much. Edward stares at the screen. The name echoes. Edward. V.O. Sam darkness hangs low like a wet coat. The only light comes from passing headlights overhead, their beams flickering through the metal ribs of the bridge like dying stars. Samuel, Sam Carter, lays his coat over a patch of cardboard near the graffitied wall. Around him, crumpled newspapers flutter with the breeze. A rusted shopping cart holds everything he owns. A pair of work boots missing laces, a folded tarp, and a metal lunchbox taped shut at the edges. The city never sleeps. But down here it doesn't speak either. Sam sits cross-legged, back-pressed to cold concrete. His breath clouds in the night air. From a worn bag, he pulls out a half loaf of bread and tears it slowly, his hand steady despite the cold. Nearby, another man coughs in his sleep. A couple argue 2 columns down. Sam doesn't flinch. He's used to it. He listens without reacting. A siren wails in the distance. Too far to matter. Too close to forget. Sam sets the bread down and picks up the metal lunchbox. It creaks open. Inside, a folded American flag patch, frayed at the seams, a small teddy bear keychain, dirty but intact, and beneath it all, a Polaroid photo, a little girl with curly hair and missing front teeth, mid-laugh. Her arms are thrown around a man in uniform. Sam, younger, smiling wide. He traces the edge of the photo with his finger. Before the street, before the silence, there was this, a reason, a promise. Sam closes the lunchbox slowly, presses it to his chest like a heartbeat. From above, rain begins to fall again, tapping lightly on the metal lid like a memory knocking. The desert wind howls outside. Sand whispers against canvas walls. Inside, Sergeant Sam Carter sits hunched on a cot, his uniform streaked with dust. The soft yellow glow of a hanging lantern trembles as he unfolds a piece of paper, creased, worn, edges browned by time. A child's handwriting sprawls across it, uneven but full of love. Crayon drawings fill the margins, stick figures, a sun, a flag, a house. Sam's lips move as he reads silently. Then his voice breaks through the quiet. Sam, softly. Dear Daddy. Mom says you're a hero. I told her you already were. I made you a picture. It's us at the park. I saved you a seat on the swing. Don't forget, okay? Come home, Daddy. I love you more than peanut butter. He exhales, long and trembling. The tent flap sways behind him, revealing distant bursts of orange light from the horizon. Explosions far away, but too close for comfort. Some memories arrive like letters, folded in love, sealed in hope. And they stay, long after the ink has faded. He folds the letter back, careful like it's holy, slips it into his breast pocket beside the small teddy bear keychain. His thumb brushes the fabric once, steadying himself. Private, OS. Sarge, convoy rolls in 5. You good? Sam forces a nod, pocketing the letter. But as the private walks off, Sam looks at his hand. It shakes. He closes his fist. Sam, to himself. Come home, Daddy. The words echo. The wind carries them out into the dark, mingling with the hum of war. He would come home, just not the same man who left. Under the bridge. Night, present day. The same lunchbox. The same letter. Now yellowed and brittle in his trembling hands. He whispers through cracked lips, Sam. Come home. Daddy, I saved you a seat. Fade out. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead. Cold, clinical. Sam sits stiff in a chair, wearing a faded uniform that carries more dirt than honor now. His eyes are bloodshot, his knuckles scraped raw. Across the table sit 3 officers, their medals polished, expressions polished more. Major Turner reads aloud from a file. Monotone, detached. Major Turner, direct disobedience. Unauthorized re-entry into active blast zone. 1 civilian minor retrieved. 1 team member critically injured in delay. Violation of protocol Bravo 12. Sam doesn't speak. He just stares at the tabletop. Splintered. Dull. Colonel Hughes. You're not here for the act, Sergeant. You're here because you acted alone. Sam. Quiet. There was a child in the fire. Major Turner. There were orders. You disobeyed them, Sam. I went back. I carried her out. Colonel Hughes. You risked your unit. You compromised extraction, and your refusal to follow command. Pause. We don't give medals for reckless heroics. Sam clenches his jaw. He's shaking, not from guilt, but from disbelief. Sam, I'd do it again. Major Turner. We believe you, which is exactly why we can't keep you. A stamp slams down on the file. Discharged. Other than honorable. Sam's hands twitch as if to protest, but he doesn't. He stands, slowly. Salutes out of habit, not respect. Colonel Hughes. You're no hero here, Carter. They sent him home, stripped of ribbons, rank and reason. But the weight he carried, no paper could take that away. Military base gates. Moments later. Sam steps out, duffel over shoulder. His boots crunch gravel, walking into a world that no longer calls his name. Behind him, the gates close with a metallic clang. The view stretches across the skyline. Floor-to-ceiling glass frames a city built by money and ambition. The air hums with climate control. Perfectly silent. Edward Rivers steps inside, coffee in hand. His designer loafers tap against marble. The room is sleek, artful, cold. Abstract paintings hang on the walls. All texture, no feeling. He moves past the untouched espresso machine, past a sleek black conference table no one's ever argued around. He stops at his desk. Multiple monitors light up with charts, emails, press releases. One screen shows live stock prices, another his upcoming media interview. Up here, the world looks smaller, cleaner, like pain doesn't echo at this altitude. Edward opens a manila folder. Not a spreadsheet this time, but the preliminary report. Samuel Carter. No address, no family contacts, only 3 words in the notes section. Under bridge, quiet. Edward scans the file. His eyes flick to the security photo included. Sam, standing near a dumpster, his posture upright despite the rips in his jacket. CEO's office. Moments later, Edward tries to work. Emails pile up. He opens one from his assistant. Assistant. Text. Investor brunch at 10. Send your remarks? He doesn't answer. He minimizes the window. Instead, his cursor hovers over the image of Sam. He enlarges it. Stares, zooms in on Sam's hands, holding the blanket. Zooms further on Sam's eyes, not begging, not angry. Just tired, like someone carrying silence too long. Edward leans back, rubs his face. His walls are glass, but something inside him feels closed. Some men build towers so high, they forget the ground ever held them. Edward closes the laptop. Sam's image stays behind his eyelids. The corporate hive buzzes. Glass offices, murmured conference calls, assistants moving like ghosts through silence. Edward Rivers walks briskly down the corridor, past plaques bearing his name, past interns who don't dare meet his gaze. He steps into the side office of Megan Choi, 30s, sharp, fast-thinking, his most trusted operations analyst. She looks up from her dual monitors. Megan, sir? Edward closed the door. She does. No hesitation. Something in his tone is different today. He takes a seat across from her. No laptop, no files. Just his voice. Edward. I need a full background check run. Quiet. No paper trail. Megan. On who? Edward Samuel Carter. Ex-military. No known address. Might be living near 9th and Cherry. She freezes slightly, not from fear, but curiosity. Megan. May I ask why? Edward, nor pause. He gave his only blanket to a child last night. While I was in the back of a Mercedes scrolling numbers that don't matter. She tilts her head, surprised. Megan. You want military records? Medical? Known associates? Edward, everything. If he has a footprint, I want it. Megan. All right. I'll handle it personally. Edward and Megan? He meets her eyes. A rare pause. Edward. Don't tell anyone. Not legal. Not HR. Not even compliance. Megan understood. He nods once and exits. She watches him go, something unspoken hanging in the air. CO office. Minutes later, Edward closes his office door behind him. He exhales and rests his hand on the closed laptop, the one with Sam's photo. Sometimes the most powerful man in the room doesn't feel powerful at all. He stares out at the city, but he's seeing something else. Steam rises from large metal pots. Folding tables line the room. The air smells of lentils, onions, and stale hope. Volunteers in aprons move with purpose, ladling bowls, passing bread. Sam stands near the end of the line. Quiet, observing. His jacket sleeves are frayed. The teddy bear keychain dangles from the zipper of his worn backpack. Across the table, Sister Joanne, 60s, round face and tired eyes that still shine with kindness, ladles stew into his bowl. Her hands pause when she sees him. Sister Joanne. Well, if it isn't Sergeant Carter. Sam offers a small, reluctant smile. Sam. Just Sam these days, sister. She pushes the bowl toward him, ignoring the line forming behind. Sister Joanne. You still like the cornbread? Sam. If it's from your hand, I'll eat it in silence. She chuckles, then lowers her voice. Sister Joanne. We missed you last week. Sam had to trade shifts with the wind. She eyes him, not judging, just reading, like she always used to. Sister Joanne. You still carrying that letter? He nods just once. Sam. Some words. Don't get old. They move to the side. Sam sits alone at a corner table. She joins him, sliding into the seat without invitation. Sister Joanne. I heard what you did. The child on Cherry Street. Sam shrugs. Sam was cold. She needed it more. Sister Joanne. You haven't changed. Still giving what you barely have. He looks down at his spoon. Doesn't speak. Sister Joanne. Softly. She'd be proud of you, Samuel. Sam's eyes flicker. He nods once. Barely. But his grip tightens on the bowl. Dim morning light filters through the blinds. A screen glows at the end of the polished mahogany table. On it, Samuel Carter, file summary. Edward Rivers stands at the head of the table, arms crossed. Across from him, Lindsay Vaughn, head of legal and HR, flips through the printed pages of Sam's records, brow creased in skepticism. Lindsay, you wanted the full military discharge file. It's not great. Edward reads aloud. Violation of command. Re-entered active blast zone. Compromised mission. Pause. That's the headline. What's the story? Lindsay. The story is, he broke rank, and someone almost died because of it. Edward. And a child lived. Lindsay looks up. Lindsay. You're seriously defending him? Edward, I'm not defending anyone. I'm just wondering why a man with nothing still gives everything. He taps the desk. The screen changes to a security photo. Sam under the bridge, handing the blanket to the child. Edward. He could have kept it, but he didn't. He could have ignored her, but he didn't. Lindsay. Maybe guilt drives him. Edward? Or maybe grief does. He sits, still watching the screen. Edward, Conti D. I've read enough files to know when a man is lying. This isn't a man who snapped. Pause. This is a man who was broken. And left that way. Lindsay says nothing. Her fingers tighten on the file. Narration. VO. Paper holds facts, but not always truth. The screen fades to black as Edward leans back, eyes troubled, a weight settling on his chest that has nothing to do with business. Dust swirls like ghosts through the narrow alleyways of a sun-scorched village. The tension is thick. Walls are cracked. Silence rings louder than the distant hum of radios. Sergeant Sam Carter crouches behind a Humvee, sweat trailing down his neck. His voice crackles over the headset. Sam Alpha Unit clear. Proceeding to evacuate Zone 6. His eyes scan a crumbling courtyard where civilians huddle in fear. Mostly women, some children. One girl, no older than 8, peers out from behind her mother, clutching a pink sandal missing its pair. A loud boom shakes the earth. Smoke erupts 2 buildings down. Screams. Dust. Then silence again. Radio. O.S. All units fall back. Fall back. I repeat, zone is unstable. This is not a drill. Private Henderson. Sarge, we gotta move. Now. Sam looks toward the family huddled near the door. The child has disappeared from view. Sam, wait. Where's the girl? Private Henderson. We don't have time. Zone's gonna go. Sam doesn't move. Private Henderson. Conti D. That's an order, Sarge. Sam tosses his rifle to Henderson and bolts across the courtyard before anyone can stop him. Collapsing house. Seconds later, smoke curls through shattered beams. Flames crackle at the edge of the walls. Sam bursts in, ducking beneath a fallen ceiling fan. He hears a cough, sharp and small. He finds the girl under a collapsed table, covering her head with her arms. Her sandal lies nearby. Sam lifts the table, grabs her, cradles her tight. Sam, I got you. I got you, baby girl. Courtyard. Moments later, Sam stumbles out, the girl in his arms. The moment his boots hit open ground. Boom! A second explosion rips through the air. Everyone hits the ground. Dust clouds the sky. Narration. VO. He disobeyed an order, but obeyed something older. As the smoke clears, a medic grabs the girl. Sam falls to his knees, coughing, blinking through blood. In the distance, Henderson whispers to another soldier. Private Henderson. He went back into the fire. For a child. The wind has teeth tonight. Sam huddles inside a tattered sleeping bag, back to the concrete wall. A small tin can burns in front of him. Scraps of cardboard and damp wood catching flame with stubborn effort. Around him, the city blinks like it forgot he exists. In his lap, a folded sheet of paper, his handwriting, blocky and careful. He smooths it out. The ink smudges at the corners. He begins to read aloud, voice low, shaking. Sam. Dear Ella, I don't know if you still think of me. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. I left in uniform and came home in pieces, just not the ones I wanted to keep. The fire pops gently. Sam, Conti D. I want to tell you that I never stopped being your father, even when the world said I didn't deserve to be, even when I started to believe them. His fingers tremble as he flips to the second page. He wrote her hundreds of letters, but never sent a single one. Sam, you deserved more than silence, baby girl. You deserved more than a folded flag and stories you were too young to understand. His eyes sting, but he doesn't blink it away. Sam, Conti D. I hope, somewhere in your life, you saved me a seat. He stares at the words a moment longer, then folds the paper twice, holds it over the small flame. The corner catches. The fire spreads. Words disappear. Ella, forgive. Love, curling into ash. He watches it turn black in his hands until nothing remains but smoke. He couldn't find the courage to send it, but he found the courage to let it go. Rain drizzles like a whisper. The line for food stretches around the block. Layers of worn coats, tired faces, plastic bags held like treasure. Edward Rivers stands at the edge of the street, hood up, a plain windbreaker zipped to his throat. No tailored suit today, no chauffeur, just a man trying not to be recognized. He watches from a distance. Through the line he spots Sam near the front, silent, upright. A stillness about him, like the world rushes past, but he refuses to move until someone makes him. Sam receives a tray, bread, soup, a wrapped sandwich. He nods his thanks to Sister Joanne, then steps away to sit alone on the curb. Edward stays half hidden behind a lamppost, adjusting the angle of his cap, as if afraid Sam might see him and somehow recognize his wealth through the rain. A young pregnant woman, barely 20, shuffles past Edward. Her shoes are soaked, one heel broken. She reaches the line too late. The food trays are done. She blinks fast, trying not to cry, then turns to walk away. Edward watches as Sam, without a word, stands up, walks to her slowly, and offers her the sandwich from his tray. She hesitates. He just nods. She takes it. They don't speak. Sam returns to his spot, eats only the bread. The soup goes untouched, growing cold in the drizzle. The richest man in the city watched the poorest man give, and suddenly, he'd never felt more bankrupt. Edward stays there, silent, unnoticed, watching a man who no longer owns anything, still act like he belongs to the world. Glass chandeliers glimmer above a long mahogany table dressed in linen and luxury. Plates clink. Wine flows. The view outside shows the skyline glittering like jewels. Inside, power is passed with every pour. Edward Rivers sits at the head. He wears his finest suit, but his shoulders slump in the soft light. The image of leadership, but without the weight behind it. Investor number 1. We've doubled Q3 projections. If we adjust the China portfolio, Q4 will smoke expectations. Edward, stirring his wine, distracted. Investor number 2. We were hoping you'd finalize the ESG announcement tonight. Make it bold. Aggressive empathy is trending well. Edward. Aggressive empathy? Investor number 2. Yeah, sustainable messaging, charity tie-ins. It makes us look aware. Edward mutters. Aware of what? The room quiets slightly. A few glances pass. Board member Edward, everything all right? He sets his glass down. Edward. Tell me something. If a man has nothing, but gives the last thing he owns to someone colder than him, pause. Is that good branding or just goodness? The board chuckles. One investor raises a brow. Investor the 21. Depends. Did anyone film it? Laughter, except from Edward. He forces a tight smile, but his jaw tenses. Board member. You've been somewhere else lately. You skipped the Bellevue pitch. Missed the foundation breakfast. That's not like you. Edward, flatly. Maybe like me needs to change. The room goes quiet again. Forks stop mid-air. Board member, smirking. Why are you suddenly so soft? Edward doesn't answer. He just stares down at the white linen napkin folded in his lap, thinking about a different kind of table. A concrete curb. A half-eaten sandwich. A man with no chair but all the dignity in the world. The world above wakes with horns and headlines. Down below, Sam sits cross-legged on a flattened piece of cardboard, warming his hands over the remnants of last night's fire in a coffee can. He unzips his pack and pulls out the metal lunchbox again. Scratched, dented but still whole. He opens it like a ritual. Inside, the folded flag patch, the teddy bear keychain, the old Polaroid of Ella. And something else, yellowed and folded 6 times over. A newspaper clipping, soft as tissue. He unfolds it carefully. The ink is fading, but the image remains. A fire-blackened building, smoke still curling from its upper floors. In the foreground, a soldier in uniform, soot-covered, knees scraped, clutching a child to his chest. The child's face is blurred. The soldier's, partially turned but unmistakable. It's Sam. There's no name under the photo, just a caption. Child pulled from fire by unknown soldier. Civilian rescue amid chaos. Sam reads the article again, even though he's memorized every line. He wasn't mentioned. Not once, not in the piece, not in the praise, only in the pain that followed. He folds it slowly, smoothing each crease like it matters. Like the ink will hold if he treats it gently enough. A rat scurries past a pipe behind him. A bottle clinks near a sleeping man groaning in dreams. But Sam stays still, eyes on the paper. Flashback, brief blur. The child's cough, the collapsing beam, the feel of her weight in his arms, the silence afterward. Sam closes the lunchbox, tight, sets it back beside him like an offering. He looks out across the cracked pavement, where light filters in through the gaps in the bridge, and in the softest whisper, Sam she lived. A small, sterile room with humming fluorescent lights. A wall clock ticks louder than the woman behind the desk. A poster reads, "We believe in second chances." Sam sits across from the office manager, 40s, glasses sliding down his nose. Sam's shoulders are square. He's shaved, shirt tucked in, hands folded. Clean, calloused, still. On the desk, a completed application. The manager scans it, chewing on the end of a pen. Office manager. You've got military service. That's something. Sam, I was a sergeant. 12 years. Office manager. Disinterested. I see here. Discharge type. Other than honorable. Sam, quietly. Yes, sir. The manager sets the paper down. Doesn't look at Sam. Just leans back, sighing like the air's already been decided. Office manager. Look, we get a lot of applicants. We need folks we can depend on, not ones who might cause complications. Sam, I don't drink, don't smoke. I clean better than most people eat. Office manager. That's not the issue. Sam. Then what is? Office manager, coldly. You were discharged under misconduct. That's in the system. That sticks. Pause. We don't hire your kind. Sam blinks. Once. No outburst. No plea. Just a slow nod. He stands, straightens his jacket, and slides the chair back in with care. Sam understood. Sidewalk. Moments later. Sam walks out into the cold light of day. No one notices him leave. No one ever does. The wind picks up, and with it, a piece of paper skitters across the sidewalk. His resume left behind. He wasn't asking for charity. He just wanted a mop and a chance. But sometimes the weight of a label is heavier than the truth it hides. The city glows with Christmas lights. Window displays shimmer with warmth. Mannequins in wool coats. Toy trains circling tinsel trees. Signs that say, "Make memories," in gold cursive. Couples stroll hand in hand. Kids point at animated reindeer. A saxophone player belts Silent Night on the corner, his open case slowly filling with crumpled bills. Sam walks against the current of joy, a worn silhouette in a coat 2 sizes too big. His boots click unevenly on the clean pavement. He pauses outside a large toy store window. Inside, a young father kneels with his daughter. She's maybe 7, laughs as he lifts a pink dollhouse above his head like it's made of magic. The girl claps. He spins her once, gently, before placing it in the cart. Sam doesn't move. The glass reflects their joy onto his face, overlaying the smile of a family that isn't his. That used to be. He puts a hand in his pocket and pulls out the teddy bear keychain. Just holds it. Lets his thumb trace the fraying fabric. A child runs past behind him, chasing a snowflake. Her laughter is sharp and bright. Sam turns his head slightly, following the sound until it disappears into a doorway. A voice from a speaker says, Thank you for shopping local. Happy holidays. Sam looks down at the keychain one last time, then slowly slips it back into his pocket. He doesn't enter the store, doesn't tap on the glass, doesn't speak to anyone. He simply turns, alone, and walks away from the warmth, from the light, from the glass that reminds him too clearly what he's not part of. The cold doesn't just live in the air. It lives in the eyes of a man who remembers what it felt like to be someone's whole world. He tightens his jacket around himself and keeps walking. Warmth fills the room, not from money, from love. The carpet is threadbare, the couch secondhand, but the light is golden. A small radio hums old jazz from the kitchen as Sam, younger, whole, still in uniform, spins a tiny girl in pajama feet across the floor. Ella, 5 years old, giggles as she twirls, arms wide, curls bouncing like little springs. Ella, faster, Daddy. I'm flying, Sam. Then don't let go, baby bird. He lifts her high into the air, her arms stretched to the ceiling as she squeals. He pulls her close and sways, slow dancing now, her cheek pressed to his chest, the beat of her heart syncing with his. Ella, muffled. You smell like army. Sam, softly. It's the smell of doing what's hard even when you're scared. Ella, you scared? Sam. Sometimes. She pulls back, placing her small hands on his cheeks. Ella. Then you can take me with you. I'll be brave too. He smiles, broken-hearted, kneeling down to eye level. Sam. No, Angel. You have a different mission. You're staying here. You gotta take care of Mom and the bear. She nods, solemn, like it's a sacred oath, then picks up her teddy bear from the couch and holds it out. Ella, he's scared too. You can borrow him. Sam takes it gently. His eyes shine. Sam, thank you, Ella Bean. Ella, promise you'll come back? Sam, I promise. She wraps her arms around him, squeezing tight. The radio keeps playing, as if trying to freeze this moment in music. Before war, before courtrooms, before bridges, there was this, a promise tied to a twirl. The city skyline flickers behind the windows like stars trying to be important. Edward Rivers stands by the glass, suit jacket off, sleeves rolled. His phone glows in one hand, an email from legal, another from PR, a press release about a new partnership. He doesn't open any of them. On his desk, the file on Samuel Carter. Open. Pages scattered. He stares at the picture. Sam under the bridge, arms folded, the blanket gone. A knock on the door. Megan Choi enters cautiously, holding a thin brown envelope. Megan pulled what I could from old DoD records. His appeal never went through. He never filed again. Looks like he just disappeared after discharge. Edward flips through the documents slowly. Service medals, command letters, training accolades, a spotless record, until the one day that rewrote it all. Edward, he saved a child, got punished for it. Megan, we're not supposed to intervene, sir. You know the protocol. Optics, liability. Edward, suddenly sharp. To hell with optics. A beat. Megan blinks. Edward, softer. I want to see him. Megan, you mean, meet him? Edward, tonight. No security, no press, no statements. Megan, sir, that's not… Edward, quietly. I just want to talk to him. Parking garage. Moments later, Edward steps into a plain sedan, no driver this time. Just him, a coat, and a manila folder on the passenger seat with one name. Samuel Carter. Sometimes, power doesn't sit in boardrooms. It sits across from silence, waiting to be seen. The wind kicks litter down the sidewalk. Headlights flicker from passing cars above. Beneath the underpass, the world is quieter. Not because it's peaceful, but because it's been ignored. Sam sits alone by the column, hunched over a styrofoam cup of coffee. The steam curls up, vanishing fast in the cold. Footsteps approach. Edward Rivers, coat buttoned to the throat, pauses at the edge of the bridge's shadow. No security, no clipboard, Just a folded envelope in hand. Sam notices. Watches. Doesn't move. Edward steps closer, careful not to spook him. The light from the street lamp draws a halo between them. Edward, evening. Sam nods. Slow. Doesn't answer. Edward. I've seen you before. The girl. The blanket. Pause. You didn't have to do that. Sam didn't do it for you. His voice is gravel and truth. Eyes steady. He sips the coffee like this is just another stranger passing through. Edward reaches into his coat and pulls out the envelope. Offers it? Edward. There's money in here. Enough to get you off the street. A room. Food. Maybe something more long-term. Sam stares at it, then looks away. The refusal is quiet, but absolute. Sam. I didn't give that blanket for change. Edward lowers the envelope, stunned by how heavy it suddenly feels. Edward. You don't even know who I am. Sam, don't need to. You came down here thinking I needed fixing. Edward. You don't? Sam. Slight pause. We all do, but not like this. Sam stands, dusts off his coat, walks past Edward, not aggressively, not rudely, just finished. Edward watches him go. Speechless. Integrity isn't loud. Sometimes it just walks away. Full, even when empty. The sun has slipped behind the buildings, painting the alleyways in long shadows. Sam walks slowly, a paper bag in hand, 2 rolls, a bruised apple, and a juice box from the shelter. He passes dumpsters, graffiti, and the back of a fried chicken joint. Steam hisses from a vent overhead. Then, a muffled whimper. Sam stops. Another sound, a child's cough. Dry, quick, desperate. He turns into the narrow space between 2 buildings. A small boy, maybe 6, is curled up behind an overturned trash bin. Dirty hoodie, no shoes, eyes wide and red from crying. Sam crouches down slowly, palms open. Sam. Hey there. Easy now. You lost? The boy flinches, instinctively pulling away. Sam doesn't move closer. Sam, softly. It's okay. I ain't here to hurt you. He takes the juice box from the bag, places it on the ground and pushes it forward slowly. The boy looks at it, then at Sam. Slowly reaches for it and drinks. Sam. You hungry? The boy nods. Sam hands him the apple. From behind a fence nearby, someone records on their phone, unnoticed. A distant voice whispers, bystander, OS. Yo, that's the blanket guy. Look. Sam takes off his jacket and wraps it gently around the boy's shoulders. It's his only coat, again. And still, he gives it away. Sirens wail faintly a few blocks over. The city moves on. But here, in this sliver of forgotten concrete, a quiet rescue unfolds. Some heroes wear medals. Some just carry warmth in their hands. The boy leans into Sam's side. Safe. The camera keeps rolling. A cracked phone screen lights up a dark room. A teenager scrolling in bed pauses on a video posted with the caption, Blanket Man Strikes Again. Real Hero, Rice Street Angel. She watches silently. The footage of Sam wrapping his jacket around the lost boy, offering food, never asking for thanks. Her hand flies to her mouth. She hits share. Coffee shop. Morning, 2 college students lean over a laptop. One wipes away a tear. Student 1. He didn't even look at the camera. Student 2. That's how you know it's real. Newsroom. Midday, a producer waves frantically to a host. Producer. It's up to 2 million views. Get it in the next segment. School hallway. Lunchtime, a group of middle schoolers cluster around a phone. Kid. He gave up his jacket again. Same guy from the blanket video. Another kid that's like a superhero without the cape. Homeless shelter. Night sister. Joanne sees the video playing on a volunteer's phone. She places a trembling hand over her heart. Sister Joanne. God finally let the world see him. Edward Rivers. Apartment, 3:06 a.m. Lights off. The only glow is from a laptop resting on Edward's lap, as he sits in bed in silence. He watches the clip. Sam placing the jacket on the boy's shoulders. Sam lowering himself beside him. No words, just presence. The screen flickers, buffering briefly. Edward exhales, shaky, broken, then presses replay. Again. Again. His eyes well. A single tear rolls down and lands on the keyboard. When truth is quiet long enough, the world finally leans in to listen. Rows of chairs face a polished stage. Tech staff adjust spotlights. A screen behind the podium reads, Edward Rivers. Keynote address, compassion as capital. Assistants rush between clipboards and coffee. Cameramen set angles. A crowd of donors, investors, and press gathers. Backstage, Megan Choi checks her phone, scans her watch, looks around. Assistant, OS. He's still not here? Megan. He was supposed to arrive 20 minutes ago. She dials, S-City, streets. Same time Edward. Walks alone, coat zipped. No tie. His car is nowhere in sight. He passes the same alley he saw Sam in before, empty now. He turns the corner toward St. Augustine's shelter. A volunteer hands out bowls of oatmeal. Edward steps into the line. Volunteer. You here to eat or help? Edward smiles faintly, rolls up his sleeves. Edward today? Help. Corporate auditorium later. The crowd is restless. Phones buzz. Murmurs rise. A company executive approaches the mic. Executive. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rivers won't be speaking this morning. We apologize for the inconvenience. Whispers erupt across the audience. Augustine's kitchen. Continuous Edward. Sleeves rolled, hair damp from the walk. Scrubs dishes beside Sister Joanne. She glances at him, recognizing his face from the news. Sister Joanne. You could be anywhere. Why here? Edward. Because he won't take help. He rinses a plate, eyes tired but clear. Edward, Conti D. So I'll work beside him. Some speeches don't need microphones. Some promises are made in silence, with sleeves rolled and hearts bare. A small lamp glows beside Edward's desk. The rest of the building is dark. His coat hangs over the back of a chair. His laptop is open. Not on a spreadsheet, but on YouTube. He replays the viral video again. Sam kneeling beside the child, giving up his jacket. Again. Again. His fingers tap the trackpad. Not out of boredom, but reverence. Then his eyes drift to the comment section. Top comment. Liked 4.3K times. I think that's my dad, Samuel Carter. I haven't seen him in years. Edward freezes. He scrolls to the username. Elab Grace. The name strikes him like thunder. He copies it, pastes it into a search, social media profile. Nida, modest profile. Ella Grace. 20. Barista. Studying child psychology. Location, 2 cities over. Pinned post. A photo of her in a graduation cap, holding a teddy bear. Caption. Wish you were here, Dad. Edward stares at the screen for a long moment, then clicks. Message, he types slowly, carefully. Ella. I believe I may have seen your father. My name is Edward Rivers. Please reach out if you're open to talking. He hits send. The message status, delivered. He leans back in his chair, hands over his face, breathing deep. Sometimes the past knocks. Not with fists, but with fragments. A photo, a username, a name whispered into the future. Edward looks again at the video. This time, not as a CEO, but as a man who knows what it's like to wonder if it's too late. The soft clatter of cups and jazz overhead. Ella Grace, 20, sits in the corner booth, hands wrapped around a mug. She wears a cardigan too big for her frame. Her voice is calm, but her fingers tremble. On the table in front of her, Edward's face appears via video call on a laptop screen. She adjusts the volume. Edward, on screen. Thank you for responding. I didn't want to intrude. Ella, you didn't. I didn't know anyone would care enough to reach out. Edward takes a deep breath. Edward, the man in that video, the one who gave his jacket away. That's your father. Ella, yes. Or, it used to be. That was his coat. I still remember the zipper. It had this scratch that caught my hair when I hugged him too fast. She laughs once, dry, quick, then looks away. Edward, why haven't you reached out before? Ella, because I thought he left. Pause. When Mom got sick, he was already gone. The letters stopped, the visits, the calls, and when she passed, there was just silence. She wipes her cheek quickly. Edward, he never stopped thinking about you. Ella, then why didn't he come back? Edward doesn't answer right away. Edward, some men come home with wounds people can't see, and they think those wounds disqualify them from love. Ella's eyes well up. She blinks fast. Ella, if you see him again. She swallows. Ella, conted. Tell him I forgave him. A long time ago. The wind has changed. Gentler now. The sun lowers behind the skyline, casting everything in soft gold. Sam sits in his usual spot near the underpass, arms crossed against the cold. Jacket gone since the day before. His fingers are red, cracked from the chill. People pass without seeing him. Again, until a small shadow appears at his feet. It's the same little girl he gave the blanket to, now wrapped in a bright red puffer coat, mittens too big for her hands. She holds something in her arms. A blanket. Thick. New. Plaid. She steps forward, lifts it toward him without a word. Sam blinks. His body remains still, but his eyes trace every movement like they're memorizing it. She places the blanket in his lap. Her mother, the woman from that night, stands nearby, watching, eyes full. Silent girl, softly. My mom said this one's for you now. Sam opens his mouth, but no words come out. His hands slowly unfold the blanket. He runs a thumb across the edge. It's warm, soft, still smells like detergent. He looks up at the girl. Her smile is shy, crooked, missing a front tooth. He gives a small nod. Sam, thank you. The girl beams, then runs back to her mother. They disappear into the crowd. Sam wraps the blanket around his shoulders. His breathing slows. For the first time in a long while, his body begins to relax. Not just from warmth, but something deeper. He gave away the last thing he had, and somehow, it came back. He exhales. A ghost of a smile lifts one corner of his mouth. Steam rises from pots. Volunteers pass out warm bowls and bread. The line stretches as usual. Figures hunched against the wind, some talking, most silent. Sam stands mid-line, quiet, his new plaid blanket folded neatly over one arm. He wears it like it's a shield, a symbol. Across the street, just beyond the stop sign, Ella, now 20. Grown, but still carrying the weight of childhood questions in her posture. Her backpack is slung over one shoulder, earbuds dangling forgotten. Her eyes are fixed on him, unmoving. She sees him, older, thinner, face cracked by years and weather, but still him. Her breath catches. She steps closer to the curb, one foot off the sidewalk, then stops. Flash memory, young Ella. Dancing in pajamas. The teddy bear. I saved you a seat. Ella doesn't cry. She locks the emotion down, the way people do when they've waited too long for something and aren't sure if it's still real. She doesn't cross the street. Not yet. She leans against a light post. Watches. Sam receives his bowl. Nods in thanks. Sits on the curb just like always. He doesn't know she's there. He picks at the bread slowly. Ella shifts her weight, hand clutching the strap of her bag. Her fingers dig into the fabric like they're trying to hold back time. Some reunions don't start with hugs. They start with distance, with seeing and not yet being seen. The camera lingers behind Ella. her silhouette watching him. One heartbeat, one breath, from a lifetime away. The scent of broth and stale bread floats in the air. Plastic trays clatter against tables. Volunteers move swiftly, sharing more warmth than food. Edward Rivers stands beside a dish pit, sleeves rolled, helping rinse trays. Sister Joanne dries them beside him. They work in quiet rhythm. Edward finally speaks. "Edward, I saw the video. And the one before that. The blanket. The jacket. The boy." Sister Joanne smirks. "He's not one for cameras." Edward, "That's exactly why the world should see him." Sister Joanne, "He wouldn't agree with you. He thinks service ends with silence." She pauses, towel still in hand. Sister Joanne, Conti D. "He checks on the older ones here, makes sure they're still breathing some nights. Carried one man 2 blocks to an ER last winter. Never told anyone. Just left before sunrise." Edward's eyes lift. "Edward, he still serves." She nods, folding the towel carefully. Sister Joanne, "He picks up trash. People don't notice. Calms the ones who scream when the meds run out." Pause. "He prays sometimes too. Not for himself. For us." Edward swallows the weight in his throat. Sister Joanne, Conti D. "The army took his title, but they couldn't take his soul." She glances at him, seeing past the expensive watch tucked under his sleeve. Sister Joanne, Conti D. "You came here to fix him?" Edward, "I don't think I can." Sister Joanne, "Good, because he's not broken, just tired." She places a dry tray on the stack and turns. Sister Joanne, quietly as she walks away. "He's been saving lives, just without a uniform." Edward stands there and motionless, holding a dish that suddenly feels heavier than ceramic. A light rain begins to fall. Sam steps out of the shelter with a cup of tea, shoulders hunched, his new blanket draped across one arm. Steam rises as he blows gently on the cup, across the alley, half-shadowed beneath an awning. Ella watches, closer this time. She clutches the strap of her bag tighter, every muscle in her body pulled taut, like she's about to run to him, or from him. Her mouth opens, then closes. She takes one step forward. Sam's head turns. Their eyes meet, faintly, barely, through the blur of rain. His cup stills in midair. His breath halts. She steps into the light. He sees her, truly sees her. The child who once danced in footy pajamas, now standing in grown-up shoes, her face familiar and foreign all at once. Sam doesn't move, doesn't speak. Neither does she. Seconds stretch like hours. Then, Sam lowers his eyes. He turns, quietly, and walks away. Ella doesn't follow. She just watches as he rounds the corner and disappears into the night, the sound of his footsteps swallowed by puddles and thunder in her chest. Shelter hallway. Moments later, Sam leans against the wall, alone, breathing hard like he just escaped something, or someone. His hands tremble. His tea is cold now, he whispers. To no one. To everyone. Sam, she deserves more than this. Some fathers run not because they don't love, but because they do. And they don't think love is enough. A folding stage. A small crowd. Dim lights flicker overhead. The banner behind the podium reads, "Local Heroes, Stories from the Street." Plastic chairs creak under the weight of tired bodies. Veterans, volunteers, and curious listeners. At the podium stands Edward Rivers. No suit, just a black sweater and a look in his eyes like he's carrying something that doesn't belong to him. "Edward, thank you all for coming. Tonight isn't about strategy, or profits, or press." He glances down at the folder in his hand. Sam's service records. Then out at the people, pausing as he sees Ella seated in the back row, her arms crossed but her eyes open. "Edward, Conti D. It's about one man. A man who gave up more than medals and rank. A man who re-entered a burning building for a child. And came home not to parades, but silence. The crowd leans in. Edward, Conti D. Samuel Carter served this country, and when the system turned its back, he kept serving. In alleys, in soup kitchens, with nothing left but a blanket, and a heart too large to carry alone. Murmurs ripple through the room. Edward lifts the folder. Edward, Conti D. They stamped his file with dishonor, but I've watched him do things honorable men never would. Feed the hungry, clothe the cold, walk away from the glory, and still show up the next morning. He places the folder down. Edward, quietly. Some men carry wars in silence, and we owe it to them to listen. The room goes still. Ella blinks back, something rising in her chest. The atmosphere is surgical, cold, efficient. 12 men and women impressed. Suits sit around a sleek glass table. Charts projected on the wall. Coffee untouched. Smiles. Fake. At the head of the table, Edward Rivers sits. Unreadable. Board Member 1. So instead of delivering your quarterly address, you scrubbed pots at a church? Board Member 2. And gave a public speech. Without clearance from legal, PR, or strategy. Edward. It wasn't a campaign. It was a story. A true one. Board Member 1. About a homeless man. Board Member 3. A dishonorably discharged veteran, to be exact. Edward. That dishonor is a lie. He saved a child, then got labeled and left to rot. I won't let that label write his ending. A pause. Tension coils in the room. Board Member 2. Edward, we're not running a shelter. We're running a billion-dollar institution. This kind of bleeding heart stunt doesn't inspire investor confidence. Edward, quiet but firm. Maybe they need to reevaluate what confidence looks like. Board Member 3. And maybe you need to reevaluate your role here. A beat. The air sharpens. Board Member 1. We're giving you a choice. Step back from this, publicly. No more speeches. No more involvement with him. They exchange looks. Then one delivers the final line, clean as a scalpel. Board Member 1. Conti D. It's him, or your chair. Edward doesn't flinch. He slowly leans back in his seat, looks out the window, not at the skyline, but past it, as if he already made his choice before walking in. There are moments when power asks you to pick sides, and sometimes choosing humanity means surrendering the throne. The office buzzes like any other weekday. Phones ring, screens glow, high heels click across tile. But Edward Rivers walks through it all like a man moving through glass. Calm, unbothered, resolute. He carries nothing but a small leather folder. No boxes, no goodbye emails. People turn to look. Whisper, watch. Boardroom. Continuous. The same table. Same suits. The board looks up as Edward enters. No security, no lawyers, no hesitation. He places the folder at the center of the table. Edward, you asked me to choose. I have. Board Member 1. Edward, don't be dramatic. This isn't necessary. We can spin the speech, clean up the PR. Edward, you think this is about PR? He scans the faces. Some nervous, some smug. One or two, ashamed. Edward, Conti D. This company will survive without me. But it can't survive if it forgets why it was built. Not on stock margins. On people. Board Member 3. You're really walking away? Over a man with no address? Edward, overlapping. Over a man with more integrity than most people in this room. A silence drops like stone. Edward buttons his coat, adjusts his cuff. Like armor. Edward, quietly. If I have to choose, I choose humanity. He turns and walks out. Nobody stops him. Lobby. Moments later, elevator dings open. Edward steps inside. Just him. Alone. But not defeated. As the doors begin to close, he looks up, eyes steady, spine straight. He left with nothing in his hands, but everything in his heart. Candlelight flickers against stone walls. A worn wooden cross hangs above the altar. In the pews, silence wraps the space like a blanket. Sam sits alone, shoulders hunched, blanket clutched tight around him, his eyes fixed on nothing, on everything. Behind him, Sister Joanne steps in softly, carrying 2 mugs of tea. She places one beside him, doesn't sit. Sister Joanne, you didn't come in for dinner. No response. She sits beside him, waiting. No pressure, just presence. Sam, quietly. She was there. Sister Joanne. Ella? He nods, jaw tight, voice barely a whisper. Sam. She looked right at me, and I walked away. Sister Joanne. Why? Sam's hands tremble as he grips the mug. Sam. Because I'm not him anymore. Not the man who danced in the living room. Not the dad with bedtime stories and peanut butter jokes. I'm just what's left. Sister Joanne watches him. Not with pity, but with knowing. Sister Joanne. That little girl didn't love you because you were whole. She loved you because you were hers. A long silence. Sam sets the mug down, rubs his face with both hands. His voice cracks open like an old wound. Sam. I didn't think I deserved her love anymore. Sister Joanne. That's not your decision to make. Sam stares forward, eyes wet but unblinking. Even the strongest men fall. But when they fall toward forgiveness, that's where redemption begins. The sky is gray, smeared with the color of ash and cold memory. City sounds are still distant. Beneath the bridge, Sam's blanket is neatly folded on top of his crate, his boots beside it. But Sam is gone. A young woman walks quietly into the space, Ella, early 20s. Her face both familiar and changed with time. She pauses, heart thudding, eyes scanning the makeshift shelter. She kneels down, running her hand over the worn fabric of the blanket, the frayed edge she used to tug on during movie nights long ago. Then, from her coat pocket, she pulls out a small folded piece of paper. Her fingers hesitate, then place it gently beneath the blanket. She looks around, half hopeful, half scared. Then walks away, brushing away one tear before it falls. Not all reunions begin with words. Sometimes the heart speaks first, through quiet paper and memories shared with no one watching. Later that morning, Sam returns, hands in his pockets, the cold biting at his cheeks. He pauses as he sees the blanket, untouched. But something's different. He lifts it and finds the note. His breath catches. His fingers unfold it with reverence, like it's a relic from another life. Insert. Handwritten note. I waited for you. I hoped for you. I never stopped being your little girl. And I always saved you a seat. Ella, Sam stares at the words. His lip quivers. For the first time in years, he allows the tear to fall. Forgiveness doesn't knock. It leaves the door open and hopes you walk in. Papers shuffle. Coffee steams. A reporter, Carla Mendez, late 30s, sits at her desk scrolling through community footage. She pauses at the viral video of Sam, giving the blanket to the child. Then the clip of him rescuing the child in the alley. She rewinds. Plays it again. Zooms in on Sam's face. Recognition flashes across her eyes. Carla, to herself. Wait, I've seen him before. She darts to a filing cabinet, flipping through old newspapers, smudged ink, worn photos. Flashback image. A charred building. Headline, Local man rescues child from apartment fire. Date, over a decade ago. At the edge of the photo, barely visible, Sam, soot-covered, eyes wild, carrying a small child. Carla. No name, no credit. She grabs her pen, starts writing TV studio. Later segment airs. Sam's image flashes on screen side by side with the fire rescue photo, Encore, VO. Tonight's story, the man many call Blanket Man, has a name. Samuel Hart. A decorated veteran. Dishonorably discharged. Forgotten by the system, but not by the streets. not by the lives he's quietly saved. Footage rolls. Sam at the soup kitchen, sharing food, helping an elderly woman cross a road, smiling gently at a stray dog. Anchor VO. He never asked for attention, never demanded justice. He just kept giving. Shelter common room, night. The shelter staff and guests gather around the flickering TV. Sam stands at the back, frozen, his name, his face. Everyone turns toward him. None. Softly. They see you now, Samuel. Sam doesn't speak. He doesn't move. But for the first time in years, he doesn't feel invisible. Some heroes don't wear medals. They carry blankets. And the weight of silence. Anchor VO. A hero who asked for nothing. Mist curls over the frost-tipped concrete. A dull orange sunrise fights through the haze. Birds chirp softly as the city slowly wakes. A shelter volunteer, hoodie drawn tight, jogs down the familiar path with a bag of hot coffee and breakfast rolls in hand. She stops suddenly. Her breath catches. Sam's spot. The flattened cardboard bed is empty. The old tin lunchbox is gone. So is the child's blanket. The space looks abandoned. Except for one thing, a pair of worn, heavy combat boots sit side by side, perfectly placed on the concrete, untouched, facing the horizon. The volunteer steps closer, whispering, "Volunteer," softly. "Sam?" She scans the surrounding street. No movement, no sound, just the distant groan of traffic and a bird's lonely cry. She sets the coffee down beside the boots, staring at them as if they might explain something. But they don't. Shelter office. Moments later, the nun from earlier answers a ringing phone. Her face drops. "None gone?" She turns to the window. Outside, a few shelter residents whisper and point. None, VO. Sometimes the ones who give the most disappear, the quietest. Park bench. Cutaway flash. Just for a fleeting second. A shadowy figure walks along a tree-lined path. Long coat, hands in pockets, head down. It could be Sam, or maybe it's just our hope that he hasn't disappeared completely. Newsroom. Simultaneously, Carla Mendez stares at the last frame of her story playing on repeat, Sam smiling gently beside the rescued child. She pauses the screen, zooms in, prints the frame, pins it on her wall. Next to it, a note, "Find him." Underpass. Back to scene wind rustles the boots slightly. A pigeon lands beside them. The coffee cup lets off steam. The seat is empty. Golden leaves drift lazily from trees. A fountain splashes quietly. Children laugh somewhere in the distance. Sam sits on a weathered bench near the pond. The familiar child's blanket now folded neatly in his lap. He watches the ducks glide, lost in thought. A shadow moves behind him. Footsteps, soft, hesitant. He doesn't turn, not yet. Sam, quietly, without looking. "You found me, Ella," early 20s. "I didn't know if I should say anything." He stiffens. Breath shallow, then slowly he turns. There she is. Long dark hair tucked behind one ear, eyes like her mother's, a nervous smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Sam whispers, "You grew up, Ella." I waited. For years I waited. Then I gave up, and then, that video, he lowers his eyes. His voice cracks. "Sam, I didn't think I deserved to be found." "Ella, you didn't need to deserve it. You just needed to come home." Silence. Then she steps forward. "Ella," softly. "I brought something." She holds out a folded letter, the one he never sent, but that the nun had saved. Her eyes shine. "Ella, I read every word, and I meant what I said in mine. I always saved you a seat." Sam, "I'm so sorry, Ella. I thought I lost you. I thought the war, the shame, it ruined everything." She steps closer, kneels beside him, and takes his calloused hand in both of hers. "Ella, it didn't ruin everything. It just took the long way around." His lips tremble. The tears come fast. He pulls her into his chest. For the first time in years, he sobs, not from grief, from the ache of release. Fade out on. Their embrace, the park bathed in gentle light, the blanket between them. The wind rustles through the trees. Autumn clings to the air like a memory too soft to hold. Sam and Ella sit side by side now, their voices low, but full of everything left unsaid for years. Ella, smiling softly. You know, the house is small. The heater rattles when it's cold. My cat doesn't like new people. Sam, wiping his eyes. I've slept under bridges colder than steel. I don't think the cat will scare me off. She chuckles. Then, gently, Ella, come home, Daddy. Please. Sam looks away, eyes misting again. Sam, hoarse. You don't have to take me in. I've made peace with how things are. Ella, but I haven't. She reaches into her coat pocket and pulls out a key on a simple ring. Ella, this was always yours. You just forgot where you left it. He stares at it. The metal shines in her palm like forgiveness forged into shape. Sam whispers, what if I mess up again? Ella, tears in her eyes. Then we'll mess up together, but you won't be alone this time. A long silence. Sam looks at the sky, at the worn-out blanket, at her. Then, slowly, he reaches out, hand trembling, and takes the key. Sam, choked up. Okay. Let's go home. She stands, offering her hand. He takes it. They walk away from the bench. Not fast, not triumphant, just together. Fade out on. Their figures growing smaller, side by side under golden trees, like autumn is giving him back everything it once stole. A large whiteboard is covered with scribbles. Floor-to-ceiling windows beam sunlight over blueprints, notes, veteran case files, and sketched ideas for housing. The CEO, now dressed in a plain gray button-up and rolled sleeves, moves between desks with new energy. No suit, no tie, just mission. His assistant follows him, clipboard in hand. Assistant, you really want to name the foundation after her CEO? Nods. She's the reason I saw him. She's the reason we're here. Montage begins. Hands building wooden frames for tiny homes. Architects mapping shelters with warm colors and open porches. A volunteer pinning a photo of Blanket Man to the wall. Veterans lining up for orientation. A once boardroom investor silently wiring money into the fund, CEO's voice, steady and clear. Not all heroes wear medals. Some carry cardboard signs. Some sleep beside fire escapes. Some give away the only blanket they own, to remind us how to be human. Launch Event Hall. Evening A. Small but packed hall buzzes with emotion. Veterans, donors, volunteers. The CEO walks up to the microphone. Behind him, a banner reads, The Ella Grace Foundation. For every forgotten warrior CEO. To crowd. We're not just building houses. We're restoring dignity. This, gestures to crowd, isn't about charity. It's about justice. A quiet murmur of support rises. CEO, softly. For Sam. For the ones like him. For those we forgot while we looked the other way. The camera pans to a photo of Sam in uniform. Uncredited. Once unseen. Now framed beside the foundation's mission statement. The crowd stirs. Faces turn toward the back entrance. The hum of conversation softens. The room quiets. Doors open. And there he is. Sam, clean-shaven, hair-brushed, walks in slowly. His eyes scan the room, unsure. He wears a simple navy blue suit, slightly loose on his frame, shoulders sunken with age and humility. But under his arm, folded neatly, is a soft, worn blanket. The very same one he gave to the child on the street. That single item draws every eye. Close up on a young woman near the front. His daughter, Ella. She inhales sharply, hand clutching her chest, tears brimming but not yet falling. The CEO, standing at the mic, turns and freezes. His expression softens, like a man watching a storm finally clear. Whispers ripple through the crowd. Is that him? That's him. That's the man from the video. Sam walks with deliberate humility, every step measured like each footfall is a prayer. He doesn't look left or right, only forward, past cameras, past board members, toward the front row, toward the girl whose chair once sat empty. The blanket shifts slightly in his grasp. A glimpse of the old stitching, a patch made from a child's sweater, peeks out. He reaches the front, and the crowd rises. Not one announcement, no applause, no prompting, just a silent standing ovation. The kind that says, "We see you now. You never stopped being worthy. Welcome home." Sam pauses. His lips tremble. His knees almost do too, but he nods. A quiet, weathered soldier, standing taller than anyone else in the room. The crowd is seated again, but the energy is different now. Reverent, stilled, waiting. Sam stands at the microphone. No notes, no cue cards, just a faded blanket draped over the podium's edge, its presence louder than any banner. He clears his throat. The mic catches the sound, dry, small, and the room leans in. Sam, softly. I never expected this. Didn't ask for it. Didn't feel like I deserved it. Beat. I was taught that when you come home from war, you salute, you smile, you shut up. But nobody teaches you how to come home when the war's still inside you. Cut 2. CEO in the front row, chin lowered, listening like the world depends on it. Sam, Conti D. I spent years under bridges. People passed me like I was part of the pavement. But I saw them. I saw every dad holding his kid's hand, every mother pulling her coat tighter for a child. And I remembered what it felt like to be someone's hero. He places a hand gently on the blanket, smoothing it. Sam, Conti D. That child. That night, he was cold, and I had one thing left to give. Beat. Not because I was noble, but because I was human. He looks up, voice firm now, Sam. Conti D. It wasn't the war that broke me. It was silence. Beat. The kind that happens when the world looks away. Silent. A woman in the back wipes her tears. An old man with medals on his lapel nods slowly. The CEO exhales. A full, visible breath. Sam steps back from the mic, and no one moves. Because when the forgotten speak, the world learns to listen. The room is cozy, modest. Laughter and the smell of home-cooked food hang gently in the air. Sam, freshly shaved and wearing a simple button-up shirt, enters slowly, unsure, still adjusting. The space is warm with sunlight flickering off picture frames, ones that hold a little girl in pigtails, and now a young woman in graduation robes. Sam's daughter, OS. Dinner's almost ready, Daddy. You want to set the table? Sam smiles faintly. Yeah, I'd like that. He walks toward the wooden table, pauses. His eyes land on a chair. It's small but beautifully crafted. Draped over it is the same child's blanket he once gave away. Now clean, folded. A small note taped to the backrest. Reserved for Dad. Sam's hand hovers over the chair, shaking slightly. Then he sits. He doesn't speak. He doesn't need to. Tears rest on the edges of his eyes, but they don't fall. Instead, he breathes. Fully. For the first time in years. Across the table, his daughter places 2 steaming bowls down, then sits too, facing him. They just look at each other. No guilt, no explanations, just presence, the kind that heals in silence. CEO's office. Wall. Later a new framed photo. Sam and his daughter at the foundation launch. Below it, Ella Grace Foundation. For every forgotten warrior. Sometimes the smallest acts blanket the coldest hearts.